2, 1. Episode 12 of Coffee with the Coaches. I'm Coach Brad Dunn from the University of Lynchburg. And down below me this time, we've got Coach John Duncan from Southwestern University. And our guest today was my college coach, Matt Sellman, who's now at Pacific Lutheran University. Coach Sellman, how are you doing out there today?
I'm good, real good.
Awesome. Well, I've been excited to get you on here and happy you could join us, and excited to talk a little bit about your teams out there, but maybe we can kind of retrace and talk about some of our teams swimming back not that long ago, I hope.
Not too long ago.
It is Coffee with the Coaches. I didn't prep you beforehand, but was going to ask, did you bring coffee to join us today?
I do have a cup of coffee, yeah.
Would you? You're out there in the Washington area, so it better be something very exquisite.
Oh yeah, it's you got to go. It's a Starbucks coffee. It's just my home brew, but yeah, drinking out of my cup, my favorite cup with my kids on it. So, awesome. Picture of my kids. So, awesome. Yeah, a little late in the morning for me to be drinking coffee, but yeah, well, I figured it's a day to celebrate.
We've got a full 3-hour time difference between us, so I'm sitting here at 2:30 drinking coffee. So I'll keep it going all day long. John, what about you? What you got today?
I got some green tea. It's in my wife's mug. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Nice.
So, the mom mug. Very nice.
Mom mug. I'm the mom, I guess.
Matt, why don't you go ahead and let you tell us a little bit about yourself, your coaching background, and you kind of been all over the country, so kind of let everybody know what you've been up to in coaching.
Okay, well, I've been coaching. I've been a D3 coach for 20 years. It seems it's a big number. It seems like it's gone by really quick. It's been great. I've coached at 3 universities. Lewis Clark College is where I cut my teeth, down in Portland, Oregon. Spent a few years over in Virginia at University of Mary Washington, where I coached Brad, and had a great experience there. And then I came back to Washington State to coach my alma mater, Pacific Lutheran University. And it's been great. It's a great gig, as you guys know, and get to work with some great young people and have some fun with it. Is that all you want?
Yeah, that's plenty. That's plenty. I was getting you off a speaker view so John could have some time. John's for everybody watching. John's got his handful with his kids here today. I always get squirt guns and sandbox toys, all that stuff.
It can be a little hectic, but Matt, thanks for coming on our show. How was coaching Brad? Brad was my assistant 2 years ago. How was he as a student athlete at Mary Washington?
Brad was great. He was, he's a distance swimmer, so he liked to train, and he trained hard. And he was also, he was one of those guys on the pool deck at every competition, every meet, every championship that was always fired up and cheering and yelling and leading cheers. And I'd like to say he was a great leader in every respect. Work hard, fun, enthusiastic, and I'm not surprised that he's coaching now. And because he had that kind of mindset as an athlete as well. So, yeah, I loved coaching Brad, every minute of it.
Yeah, I'll Venmo you, Brad, for each of those good compliments after our call. All my swimmers and recruits and everyone here. Yeah, just keep the positive stuff going.
No problem.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach. And, it was fun. I think I draw back on a lot of my experiences as a swimmer and, to making decisions as a coach and navigating a lot of situations and definitely learned a lot from those experiences. I think one of the things, too, when, I was in Memphis and had been working just part-time at that time with college coaching and had transitioned into more of a business type role. And then I had the opportunity to go to Texas and kind of reinvigorate this, college coaching career opportunity. And I knew that John's platform there would help get me to being a head coach eventually where I am now. But I remember being in my kitchen. You were my first phone call that I made. And I was, debating, I had a much higher salary doing something else, but was this the right move? Was this a career? And I already had pretty much decided that I wanted to do it, but I remember we had a great phone call and, really validated a lot of those thoughts and, looking to you. So I guess kind of take us back to when you made that decision. You coming out of college or coming out of grad school. I know you had I think you were a GA, working for a different position. What led you into that path of deciding to make this your career?
It was my senior year in college. I was really, I was going to get my degree in education. I wanted to be a teacher. And I had kind of like you, I had to sit down with my coach and I was we were just talking about what was going to happen after I graduated. And I kind of came to the decision in my head that I wanted to be a college coach and I didn't want to teach. Teaching was always kind of the means to the end. I wanted to teach and be a coach. And then I decided that coaching was the primary goal. And so I just started doing some work on trying to find GA opportunities and to get my master's degree, and found a pretty good situation, got that taken care of, and did some coaching, did some assistant coaching, did some club coaching to kind of figure it out, how to do it and what it was. And I fell in love with it right away, and was lucky to get a head coaching job at a pretty young age and have some success, and been lucky to be at a few different universities. And like I said before, just coach great kids and be part of great universities and impact, hopefully make good positive impact on people that I touch. But yeah, it was a pretty easy decision. Once I made it, it was full bore ahead.
Yeah, definitely positive experiences in my room. You hurt me a few times in the pool, but all for the better. I still tell
That's the goal.
I still tell stories of doing those 4 1,000s for time after practice and on a training trip that year. But,
oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the year I won all my lifetime bests in my distance events and broke the conference records in the mile and the 1,000. So
yeah,
I guess it pays off.
Hard work works. That's for sure.
It's nice to see Brad mentoring Matt and asking for advice and coming to Southwestern. Glad you did that. So, so Matt, what's your expectation of your student athletes this summer, as far as staying in shape before they come back in August or September?
It's no different than any other year. It's just unique in terms of their methodology. I'm sure they're going to have to be creative. They're going to maybe have to do some things they haven't done in the past in terms of staying fit and getting stronger. Probably a little more running. Hopefully they might have a stationary bike at home or something like that. But chopping some wood, anything they can do in their backyard. But the expectation is the same. I want them to come in fit. If they want to have a great year, and you guys know this, they've got to prepare themselves 12 months, and so that's the goal. And hopefully they're working hard and stay on top of things. But understanding that we have to be flexible and understand their situation is a little unique and different than it's ever been. So I know that our job going into September is going to be a little tougher than normal, but I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think that was kind of one of the questions I wanted to ask you today was, now looking forward to when we get back on the pool deck and we've got the team back together. It kind of took me back to one of the conversations you and I had, I think it was at Nationals a couple of years ago when I was there at SU, and we were having a coaching conversation, talking about the stuff that we like to do in that first week and the different, some of them maybe games that you like to throw in there, but also challenges and things to drive that competitive nature. So I think this year there's going to be a different edge, I think, to everybody, unlike any we've seen before. But tell us kind of about what you like to do in those, especially first couple of weeks, to figure out who's got that edge, who's competitive, and how to set the tone for the season.
Yeah, we do a lot of things that first week to like you said, just to figure out their training mentality, who's got that competitiveness that, they're going to do whatever they can to win regardless, and who you might need to push a little bit in that direction. But we do at PLU, we call them the Loot Olympics, and we did similar things at other universities, but we do a CrossFit challenge, we do a 2-mile run, we do an open water swim. That's one of our big days. We do that all in one day in the first week, which is always a great time. It's a great team building opportunity as well. We do one of my favorite things, we call it the Mount Rainier Relay. And if you guys have been out west or in the Northwest, you've seen Mount Rainier, which is one of the most beautiful mountains in the world. And we can see it from our campus and my backyard, and it's gorgeous. And but it's kind of a broken mile up and down, up a mile, down a mile, and it's a relay. And that one is great because the teams really get after it and they race, and that's always a good time. And we do pride swims, as you remember those. Pride swim is one of my favorite things. And you can find out real quick who cares. And usually it's tight all the way to the end. And then we do some timed swims, some sets that force them to push hard and see where their limitations are currently. And but really it's all about having fun and trying to get in shape at the same time, and team build, and get the team on the right page, and have fun that first week, and really create an enthusiastic attitude where they know that we're going to work hard, they know we're going to compete, and we're going to have some good times doing it.
Awesome. Yeah, we had some fun times. I like those 2-mile runs you sent us on in the first week. Running's become my main deal after college, so I always had an upper hand getting out on the track and racing around people. Those were fun.
Yeah, those 2-mile runs can be brutal though for some swimmers who haven't been doing it or don't like to run, as you guys know. So they dread it. I think it's the most dreaded thing that we do all year for some of the kids.
Yeah, I learned early on. I never really force my swimmers to run. I think that's kind of put it into the Olympics at the beginning, right? It's a one-time challenge, but try to incorporate early on when I was an assistant into running every Saturday during the early parts of the season, and they hated it. So I nixed that idea of forcing people to run that often.
I don't know why swimmers hate running. I don't get the they like doing stuff in the water, but we do dry land. I think running is a very very good cardio base for them. So Matt,
for sure.
Brad answered answered two of my questions. Was about team bonding and kind of what you do the first couple of weeks. But I guess if I add on to it, what would your practices look like? Say if you're giving 8 to 12 weeks, how would you go about that? There's been a lot of success with teams and programs that have mid-season meets. We're talking swimmers and span of 8 to 12 weeks practicing have lifetime best. But given those 8 to 12 weeks, and that's all you had in the championship meet, let's say 12 weeks, let's say 3 months, championship meet on week 12, how would you go about training your student athletes?
That'd be tough. I mean, you got to do strength training would have to take a little bit of a hit, I think, because you couldn't break them down for as long as you'd want to. I think your training cycles have to be squeezed a little bit. You try to get 2 or 3 training cycles in, I would think, to get them built up and recovered between each session or section. But I think the aerobic section would probably be combined a lot with anaerobic. So you kind of hybridize that part. That initial part of the season would be a little more anaerobic thrown in to try to pop them into shape a little quicker. And then a lot more speed training. I think speed training would be crucial in a shorter season, a lot like high school, where they do have that similar season, and you have to focus a little more on that speed work. And I think you just have to be really efficient with your training sessions. Your 2 hours have to count. And, but there's certain things there's no way you could limit or minimize in terms of mental training and the leadership work that we do. But, so I think a lot more early anaerobic training, try to fit in 2 or 3, probably 3 good training cycles before you taper. And then a lot of speed work early and throughout.
It's good plans. It's
John stealing ideas for contingencies for different cycles and all of that.
That was a tough one, man. I hadn't even thought about that
stuff, and John's out here trying to snipe information.
It's always good ideas. I'm not saying that things could happen, but it's always nice to just kind of be prepared of what could happen in the future if we have 3 months.
Truth.
our
Yeah.
4 months, but we're all, we're focused that we're going to have a full season and we're moving forward with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe since we kind of talked about the topic of this is going on a couple months now of social distancing and quarantine and all the different ways that we're calling it. Coach, have you done anything or learned anything specifically, developed any new hobbies? What's something that you've done to kind of better yourself during this time? Something that John and I have been talking about and working on. What would you say has been something you've used the time for?
Well, I've done a little bit of reading, which is good. Been doing some reading on leadership and team building and things like that. 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. That's one of the last book I just finished, which is a good one. And The 12 Rules of Life, which is a good one as well. I'm about halfway through that one. But really, I've been spending a lot of time with my kids and doing work outside, doing a lot of woodwork projects, or just put in a basketball hoop for my kids. And so they've been wearing that thing out lately. But fortunate to have good weather so we can be outside and have a good time and spend time together. But yeah, trying to do a lot more reading than I'm usually allowed to. That's really what I've been trying to do.
Yeah, same here. I know. I'm trying to dust it off the bookshelf and getting a lot of, especially the coaching books and then some other things. I've talked about. I'm getting close to finishing Lord of the Rings. I know we've been talking about that as well. But that's been a goal of mine for a while. But it's not easy reading, that's for sure.
Try reading the Silmarillion. That's a really tough read.
Exactly. Have you read that one too?
Uh-huh.
That one, I feel like that's got to be the next goal on my list after I get this one down. The Hobbit was easy to put down, easy to not to put down, easy to knock out. And so working our way through it. John, we probably got time. If you want to ask one more question, then I'll follow up with the last one.
You went in a little bit of this, Matt, about team building. Can you kind of expand more on team building exercises that you do, Pacific Lutheran, or any events, I guess volunteer service events or things that just kind of makes your program different than other programs?
Yeah, we do. Like I said, so a lot of the stuff we do early in the year is team building focused, and some of it's kind of hidden or subliminal in terms of what the kids know about it, but it's there for a reason. And but we do a lot of good stuff to try to get the team cohesive and connected. And I do a barbecue at my place early season, and that's always a good time. We do the little mini competitions that create a little camaraderie and have fun with it. We also we have a strong department in kinesiology, and one of the courses that a lot of our kids in that program or have to take is a team building class. And so we have student athletes every year that are in that class that they organize and lead a team building day. One guy and one girl every year that takes that and runs with it. And that's a day where we don't have practice. It's just team building day, and the coaches aren't involved in any way, shape, or form other than participating in the planning a little bit with those students that are running it. That's a really good way that we really connect the academic to the athletic side of things. And then we do a lot of things throughout the year in terms of community contact and relations with the community. We run high school meets for local high schools, and that's something that it's kind of a leadership opportunity for some of our captains to organize and run those. We also teach swim lessons to a Faith Lutheran, which is a local elementary school. We do that in the spring, and we also coach Special Olympics athletes every spring as well. And that's probably the kids' favorite thing to do is to get in the water with the Special Olympic athletes and work with them, and then compete. Some of them do competitions with them and go to their meets and all that good stuff. And so we're really trying to connect to the community as well as not just ourselves. And but yeah, and then of course we really promote the seniors and the captains to run and organize social opportunities and get-togethers. Our guys almost every year have this running tournaments in terms of Smash Bros or all that kind of stuff, and they're always talking about it on the bus trips. So Yeah, and the team does a really good job, and that's one of the reasons, you guys know, why being a student athlete is such a special experience, is because of the relationships you can build, and so we really try to promote that, and they do a good job of taking it and run with it.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah.
Definitely a lot of good things in there, Matt.
So
yeah,
it brings us to our last question, and usually we warn people what the last question is going to be. I realized, John, that we didn't do that. The coach might put you more on the spot with it, but we talk a lot about kind of, not changing, but being yourself when you step on the pool deck, but you kind of have to take on the aura, right? You've got your Coach Sellman when you step on the pool deck, or Coach Duncan or Coach Dunn. You kind of have that persona that you step into. What movie character would you say Coach Sellman relates most to? And it can be fictional or non-fictional. We've had a good mix of both. You're not allowed to say our coach from Miracle. We've already had 3 guests out of our 11 episodes say that one. So.
That is a tough one. Oh, Lord.
I said Han Solo for mine, and maybe it wasn't as fitting, but on the spot it was what I came up with.
I like that. That is a tough one. What coach would I characterize myself as?
Movie character.
Man, can I use a real person?
Yeah, you can. That's why I said it can be fictional or non-fictional.
I'm gonna do one of our local guys here and go with Pete Carroll.
Oh, what movie is he?
Well, he I don't know, but he knows a lot of movie stars.
I know that you got all your Seahawks Super Bowl memorabilia framed.
Oh, yeah.
There. You probably got the DVD set still.
Oh, yeah. Big Seahawks fan. Big Seahawks. Pete Carroll, because I really try to be enthusiastic and energetic and make even hard practices, I try to make them fun. Because, swimming is a monotonous sport and can be mind-numbing. So really try to keep things fun and enthusiastic so they can stay focused and stay in the workout or in the set or whatever. So that's probably who I try to emulate, maybe that kind of mindset. I don't know if I could compare it to him. He's one of the great ones, but he's probably the one I probably think I'd like to try to be like more than any other.
Yeah. I feel like I picked up. I'm very fortunate that I got to swim those practices, and as a distance swimmer, wasn't getting like 8 400s thrown at me all the time and the boring crap stuff. So it's fun to get to do those. So, well, we're down to kind of our final minute here, Coach. So I'm going to give you the last word. Anything else that you'd like to say before we sign off and say goodbye?
No, I say thank you for having me on. And one of my favorite things is just getting to sit around and talk about coaching with other coaches. It's we don't get to do it often enough. And if anything's come good out of this self-isolation or stay-at-home orders and all that, is the opportunity to kind of talk and be casual with other coaches and get good ideas and just BS. It's been good.
Yeah, man. Well, good. Well, I appreciate your time and joining us. We've got West Coast, we've got Central, we've got East Coast, got the full spectrum across the board here. So it's been a lot of fun.
West Coast mojo.
There we go. The West Coast voodoo. That's what
voodoo.
All his practices. Every time we do something weird to practice, it was someone's West Coast voodoo.
That's right.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you
My
later.
pleasure. Thanks.